Welcome into another episode of Get to Know the Growlers. This is actually episode 3 now. I'm Ian Unsworth, one of your voices of the 2021 season for the Kalamazoo Growlers. With me, Trey Nordmann, right-handed pitcher, going to be along with us for what, second season now?
Yes. If you count the COVID year as a full season, but
I mean,
yes,
we
my
might as
second
well count the
time.
COVID year, yeah. Before we get started, quick Growlers fast fact. How many players out of the Northwoods League have played for the Detroit Tigers? Any guesses, Trey?
I'm gonna go with 6.
You hit it right on the head. Hit the nail right
Let's
on
go.
the head.
Let's
A
go.
couple notables: Brian Holiday, Andy Dirks, and of course Max Scherzer before he went off to Washington and did great things.
Oh yeah.
Today's the theme of today's episode is on the road, because Trey, you've recently been on the road. You're out in
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, me and then a former Growler who's now with the Cubs, Max Bain, kind of decided to ship out of East Michigan, over break and had to drive line for. I think this is week 2 now, so probably going to stay for 3-4 weeks. Hopefully is the goal, and then back down to Texas. So it's kind of been a little bit of a trip. So.
You've been all over the place, huh? So
Oh yeah.
in terms of drive line, I mean, I know what it is. I'm kind of tapped into the whole baseball analytics world. But for those of us who might not know, what is drive line and what is sort of their philosophy about baseball training?
I mean, it's more than what you see on Twitter, Instagram, or whatever it is. Guys picking up a bunch of colored balls and throwing them as hard as you can. I mean, lately, what me and Max were doing was we trained at a facility in Detroit called Primetime Velocity. They use a lot of their protocols, but coming out here to the holy grail of driveline, it's really cool to see kind of all the data and analytics they use. So your first day that you show up, you do kind of a Mocap. It's called a Mocap Lab. So basically you get down your just compression shorts and they put a bunch of sensors all over you and they just see exactly how you move biomechanically. It was really cool to do. So then they write you up with like a full report biomechanically, what you move well with, and they have data guys that go all over that kind of stuff. So then you go through an athlete meeting where they do that with force plate testing to see how much force your body can produce. And then even when you go and do bullpens and stuff, they bring out the Rapsodo and then TrackMan units, which luckily we have in Kalamazoo. So basically what those kind of things do is it measure kind of ball flight and ball spin, kind of how does that work for you and kind of honing your arsenal. So, I mean, for me, especially with kind of the data analytics stuff, there's no guesswork or to the eye where it's just like, okay, you officially do this well. And there's quantitative data that backs it up. So, I mean, that's kind of the thing that I really like about it is there's no guesswork and it's literally, okay, the numbers don't lie. You know what I mean? So it's very straightforward like that. So it's a lot more than, the average person can see on Twitter or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just took a college statistics.
Yeah.
College statistics is not it. That sounds more like my kind of math. In terms of improvement, what are you really focusing on when you're out in Seattle? Is there something that maybe the staff or you yourself have been like, hey, this is what I want to get better?
I mean, going since having my athlete meeting on this past Friday, my biggest thing from a movement standpoint is just sequencing issues. So for the people that don't know, your body's supposed to sequence and use kind of the kinetic chain in a certain way. So my thing was, at least right now, is kind of getting the timing all together. From like a weight room standpoint, they said it was fine with that. It's just a few kind of, tweaks regarding sequencing. And then kind of just from a pitching standpoint and like ball movement and everything, I'd say kind of just, I have you could say a Dollar General changeup right now. So they're trying to bang the changeup and hopefully add like a splitter or something like that that'll pair better with my arsenal, because that's kind of been a huge thing in baseball. Is kind of just seeing what pairs up better with guys, whether it be arm slot, whatever it is that they need to do. So, I mean, those are probably the two biggest things, is trying to, add kind of a third pitch and then just move just a little bit better to, I guess, move more efficiently. So, I mean, it's been working out pretty well so far.
What is in the Trey Nordmann arsenal?
As of right now, it's mainly just heater and slider, and you just try to throw the hell out of both of them as hard as you can, just power arm in the back end. So that's kind of basically is that 1-2 punch, but just kind of trying to have a show me third is the goal.
Get it to the lefties. Got to give something to the lefties. Can't be throwing the slider all the time. In
Oh,
terms of the fastball, I saw you're hucking 95, 96 on Twitter. What's it like hitting 90 and then like getting up, breaking those like high level like MLB numbers? Like, what is it like throwing 90 for the first time, throwing 95 for the first time? What's that feeling?
I mean, your first 90 is probably the more like memorable one, because it's like, all right, like I'm here, and then as you go up, it's hard to explain, but it is really cool, especially when you're playing in Kalamazoo and you see, most stadiums have the stadium gun behind you, so you got to do the little turnaround thing. But at Homer Striker, luckily you have the one radar gun right up above, so you kind of see what you're working with for that day. But say probably the day I hit a 6, it was like, did that actually just happen? Because I think the whole year probably I was sitting like 1 to 3 or 2 to 4. So to see like a 6, it was like, holy crap. It's pretty sick just because it's like, all right, like here we go. I'm gonna throw the hell out of this and just try to just hum it right by guys. It's pretty fun though, like once you get to it, but it just turns into a game at some point.
Little mental game. Speaking of mental games, what has been the biggest challenge out in Seattle? Is the environment different? Like just adjusting to the time difference, working with Max Bain, who's probably pushing the crap out of you. What is the biggest challenge?
I mean, me and Max have known each other for, I want to say, going on 2.5 years now. So it's kind of little like big brother, little brother type rivalry we have. So he's always pushing me. Plus, he blows my numbers out of the water now because he throws really hard now. But I'd say mentally the hardest thing is just kind of adapting to kind of the workload and the process it takes. I mean, because it's not the easiest thing logistically to pick up and move 3,000 miles away and kind of figure out where we're staying, like at an Airbnb, time slots to train, and kind of all that stuff. So I'd say mainly the biggest struggle has been logistically, but getting in the gym and kind of just grinding it out or whatever you want to call it has probably been the easiest thing. It's probably just been logistically with travel and all that stuff's been the hardest. But once we got into the groove, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. So in terms of like college ball, that sort of stuff, you're down at Howard right now, back in Texas, and you actually recently committed to Lipscomb. What went into that decision?
Mainly being the Division I kickback before, kind of went through the process once before I went to junior college. So the biggest thing was kind of just find the best place I'd fit truly with like the same kind of needs. So going back with the whole drive line and coming out here thing, the thing I really like that Lipscomb does is they incorporate a lot of the protocols and data stuff that the drive line does out here. So for example, we have a bunch of the data stuff. We have Rapsodos at Lipscomb. Then luckily they're getting 2 TrackMan units to use, one for the stadium and then one that is portable that you can use in pens and stuff. So mainly probably the data stuff was huge, just going somewhere like that, and where it also is a good environment where a lot of the guys are bought in. And that was a really big tool in their recruiting pitch, was just mainly like, we want to bring guys in that are good at this. We don't want to have guys that, have a wide, vast, I guess, of niches of what they like to do. So, I mean, that was probably the driving force. And plus it's the staff there not only like has all this stuff, but they know how to use it and they preach it. And they also have the track record of showing that they've actually used it versus, let's say, some other school with a large budget can buy this, but then the ability to use it and act upon it that was probably the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I've heard a couple stories about schools investing in technology. They say they have it,
Yeah.
but are you really? Yeah. I think, would you say it like depends on like really just the coach's philosophy? Like it's cool to have something, but it's at the end of the day, it's on the head coach to use it or not use it.
Yeah, I mean, from like my experiences, like anyone can buy it, but like the ability to have the knowledge that goes into it, because now there's multiple driveline certifications. Rapsodo and TrackMan both have theirs. You can get mobility stuff. So, I mean, just the ability to, as a coach, to, I guess, invest kind of in your own knowledge and then take that to your guys. That's probably the biggest thing that you can tell really who's really about it and who's really kind of just like, oh, we have a really big budget, let's just buy it and then use it as a recruiting pitch. But once guys get there, you don't really use it. So, I mean, that's how it can go either way.
Yeah, switching gears a little bit, what's it like being down in Texas playing JUCO ball? Is it completely different than, being up in Michigan where baseball is kind of, it's not the biggest sport up here. So what is Texas baseball like?
I mean, especially where I'm at least in West Texas, there's like no trees, flat land. So, I mean, you're basically pitching in sandboxes. So I think with our conference, the Whack Jack, I mean, a good ERA, I guess, even for a starter reliever, is probably under a 5, which says a lot. Or yeah, five below, you're good. Just because it's the wind always blows out. You could, miss down and the guy will cap it out. So, I mean, it's really challenging. Plus the talent down there is huge, because I'd say a lot of the guys down there really do end up going Power 5 into huge, like big names, which is kind of a misconception when it comes to junior college stuff, is like, oh, it's JUCO, it's not, as good. So, I mean, it was an eye opener to go down there, but then again, down there, the ball flies. So it's a totally different, I guess, kind of park. Regards is like, you could cap a ball and if you get it up in the wind, it's gone. So it's a totally different style of play.
But not exactly I would say probably better than a 35-degree doubleheader in March, right? The
Oh yeah.
Michigan high school baseball is something different when it comes to just being tough, being gritty, going out there playing through sleet, snow. Oh man, just the good old days of high school practices wearing two pairs of pants. Coach shows up in the sweatpants over the baseball pants, stuff like that. Ah man, I mean, I'm sure it's completely different. Would you say like the vibes were different, were down there were different too? Did people just like, take a different approach to school, different approach to life? Like what were the real differences between Michigan and Texas?
I mean, especially with COVID, using COVID as an example. I mean, down there, it's a lot of oil field workers. Usually it's very, very blue collar with like ranch life and stuff. So a lot of our kids like on our team are very like they're actual cowboys. Like they'll have like the giddy up and stuff. So when I first came down there,
They got the
last
boots,
spring, yeah, no,
hats,
we got guys with
spurs.
that get up. The first day I showed up, they had a kid in overalls, boots, and a cowboy hat. And they're like, they go like dove and duck hunting probably all the time. Like you're bored after practice, they'll just go pig hunting. And it's kind of an eye opener because it's like up here, it's totally not like that at all. But you got dudes that are really, really Southern bred. And
Mhm.
it's cool because it's like you experience that kind of stuff and you kind of do and hang out with those guys because they do life a totally different way. So I mean, it was definitely an eye opener and a culture shock, but I was definitely for it.
We've been all kind of all around the country here in this little 10-minute slice of Trey's life. One quick question before we get to the lightning round. How did Trey come about? Is your name actually Trey, or are you a Nordman the third? What is the background behind Trey Nordman?
I mean, it's kind of unique, but I mean, yeah, my name's just Trey, so just Trey. No other extended or anything. It's just kind of my family, I guess, wanted to name me because I mean, the cool thing about me and my siblings is we're all T's, so that I feel like that was kind of the driving factor behind it. So I mean, it's kind of cool.
I got you. I've only known kids named Trey they're always the third. So I
Oh,
was
really?
like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're always the third. So I was milling that around in my head before we hopped on. All right. So since we've talked about, all different corners of the United States here on this interview, our little lightning round is going to be fill in the blank. We're road tripping.
Okay.
All right. So I get in the car with Trey Nordman, and he has how many suitcases?
We're gonna go with two.
Two suitcases full of.
I'd say mainly clothes because as of right now, it's kind of easy. Just
Mhm.
my life is in two suitcases, whether you're coming out here or Texas, whatever. Keep it light.
And Trey, I give you the aux cord, and you play.
We're gonna go with. I'm trying to think. Tyler Childers, Coulter Wall, stuff like that for road tripping. We'll go with those.
And we stop at a gas station. Your go-to snack is
We're gonna go with Oreo minis and a body armor.
a body armor. All right. I know some kids that have bought into body armor. I haven't yet, but people rave about that stuff.
Oh, it's great. It's my favorite.
What's the go-to flavor?
Right now, I'm bouncing around. I think it's black cherry or black like berry. That one, fruit punch isn't bad. And I'd say the yellow one, I think it's like tropical punch. Those are probably my top three right now.
You have if you so say you're tired, you want to take a nap. How do you fall? Can you fall asleep in the car?
I would say so. You just gotta, hunker down, curl up, do something like that.
Mm.
Head against the like where the seatbelt is, against the
So
little board right there.
some neck pains afterwards, certainly.
Yeah, it depends on the car, man.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. The go-to Netflix show that's downloaded on your phone at all times is
That's a really good one. I haven't watched Netflix in a minute. The Office is always a big one for people. I'm trying to think. Big Mouth. Me and Max have been binge watching Big Mouth pretty hard. Big South Park guy, Family Guy. Just try to keep it funny.
the one thing that you did that annoyed Max on the trip over was
There's a lot. Ooh. He doesn't like that I eat. My diet's not the best, or it wasn't before we came out here. So I think like as soon as we got in the airport, it was just like 20 nuggets, McDonald's, large fry, double quarter pounder, and a large Coke like that. But now we started to eat clean, but like I was pounding some calories.
yeah, whew, that's a lot of food.
Yeah.
That's a lot of food, guys. All right, last one. And this is not road trip related per se, but if you could live anywhere in the United States, where would it be?
That's a good one because me and Max were talking about moving to Seattle at some point because this place is sweet. I mean, probably settle down, live. I'm probably going East Texas or probably Georgia, Tennessee, something like that. Got to stay where it's warm, man.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's nothing throwing baseballs in the winter when it's 20 degrees out and you're just in the school parking lot is not fun. I speak from full experience, guys. Do not try it. You're going to hurt yourself. And one more thing. I saw it on Instagram, the mustache.
Oh
What
god.
what
Yeah.
what is the fuel behind the mustache?
It's coming back. I guess now you can't really see it because of the lighting. But I mean, it was one of those things that we were in the bullpen kind of early in the summer when we all kind of clicked because we had a really good we had a really cool bullpen. If you know, we call ourselves the power plant just because we tried to bring the energy every night. But it was just one of those things. Will Mullen, if you know who that is, our sidearm guy, he kind of just started it, and we were all just like, screw it, like let's do it. So it kind of just became a team thing, and I'd say me, Grant, Jevy, and Will probably lasted the longest out of all of it because people kind of got tired of it. But it was just one of those like staples, and we just kind of wrote it out.
And is the flow coming back this summer? What hairstyle are you going with?
Right now, I'm kind of we're either debating the mullet or kind of just what I did last summer, just like keep the top and back long, just get a fade on the sides. So we're gonna play with that. That'll depend. We got time to prepare, so we're keeping that open.
Well, you never know. I'd like to see a Wild Thing look, but hey, we can roll the dice for it on the bus back from Illinois. Trey, thanks so much for joining me on episode 3 of Get to Know a Growler. Remember, keep it locked on all the Growlers social media at KZoo Growlers on IG and Twitter. Hopefully, you saw Trey on the IG. I believe. Let's see. Let me check the date here. Wednesday, December 16th, I believe. And keep it locked because we'll have more content coming. And sooner or later, that summer season's rolling along. We're going to have a ton of fun. Trey, once again, thanks so much for coming on, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you.